Now, it's been 9 months since President Akufo-Addo has sought for construction works to begin on a new National Cathedral building. Now, that cathedral will have chapels, we're told, a baptistry, a music school, an art gallery, and a Bible museum. It is a planned interdenominational Christian cathedral that's been built as part of our 60th anniversary. Its relevance, or otherwise, as you know, has sharply divided opinions here in Ghana. Legal suits seeking to stop it have actually failed, and it's paved the way for the construction to begin, but that was 9 months ago. So 9 months on, what is the state of the project? Reverend Victor Kusi-Boateng is the secretary for the Board of Trustees. He's joining me right here in the studio. We're going to start with finding out how they've been coping with the COVID season so far. Rev, you're welcome.
Thank you very much.
So how have you been coping? You and the church, the Board of Trustees?
It's been very challenging. All of us know how this COVID pandemic has messed a lot of things up. But by the grace of God, because of Zoom and all that, though it slowed us down, but we're able to do a lot. And as I talk to you today, I'm glad and I'm happy to say construction of the National Cathedral has commenced.
I was just going to get to that, and I was going to say that March, I think when the construction was actually supposed to start was just about the same time that we recorded our first case. So it must have hit you, but it's taken, 9 months? That's a long time, hasn't it?
It's not.
So when you say construction has begun, what is happening? If we should go to the site right now, what do we see?
You see work has begun. Because if you really understand construction, you can see it on the screen. If you truly understand construction, the paperwork has to be done, the contract, the appointment of the contractor, tendering processes, pre-qualification. Right within the COVID seasons, we were still working. If not for that, construction wouldn't have started.
But that was, I remember the last time I spoke to you,
yes.
There was a conversation, that it was going to start.
It was going to
exactly.
start.
And we've had 9 months, and within that 9 months, we've, the COVID stalled things for a while.
Obviously.
But wouldn't that be enough to have done all of these things so that at least we could have started a bit earlier?
This construction, if I'm to tell you how it is, it's not any regular construction that anybody can just do. One of the biggest construction firms in Italy that did the Grand Mosque of Abu Dhabi is the Rivani construction company, is the lead construction company who built a JV with Babisotti and De Simone. Obviously, with the COVID, it was impossible for the winners of as the contractors to have flown in to come and start any kind of a job. So with the COVID, obviously things were happening, but there was no way the construction could have begun because the people that won the bid could not come to Ghana to work. So it was the COVID that slowed us down. But by the grace of God, we've crossed that boundary, and we have them in town, work has started, and things are moving.
So how does this affect the timeline, the initial timeline of the project?
Basically, it was 3.5 months, years to 4 years, but now we are going to do it in a record 3 years.
3 years?
If not less than 3 years.
Let me start with the concerns that we've heard people raise about availability of funding. We're told that the project stalled because money wasn't flowing.
Anybody that said that didn't really understand it. If you understand construction starts with the drawings and with the other things, with the paperwork, with the appointment of a contractor and all that. The main issue why the project had not started was not money.
So
because
we have enough money.
We have people that have supported us, we have people that are still supporting us, and the government is also in the process of supporting us. So money is not the issue.
Money is not the issue.
But the COVID and the challenges of appointing the contractor and all those things were the things that delayed us. But now we are really on course.
Okay.
The cathedral will be built.
Well, it has already started. What we're waiting to see is the erection of the cathedral right in front of our eyes. Now,
yes.
You say you're going to do that in record 3 years.
In record 3 years.
And within 3 years, we're looking at an election. Within 3 years, this is a government that committed itself to build this. And we don't know the outcome of the election as yet. What do you think going forward? Should government change?
To me, I just want to use this medium to applaud Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. In that, Christians are 75% of the national population. Christians. And we are in the Fourth Republic. We've had 5 presidents. All of them were Christians. Not for once did anybody think about the larger majority of the populace who are Christians. 75%.
They didn't think about them. Just because they didn't build a cathedral doesn't mean they didn't think about
whether it's a cathedral or not a cathedral, something should have been done to make a statement that the contribution of the church cannot be underestimated.
Okay, so
look at all the good schools in Ghana. Holy Child, Wesley Girls, Ola Girls, Achimota, Prempe, all of these schools.
So for you, that's a good thing by the government. But then, to bring you back to my question, where we don't know whether the incumbent will be voted back into power, and should there be a change, will it affect the process? Or do you think as of where we are right now, we can still go ahead?
Let me tell you,
the government
let me tell you, number one, my conviction, and number two, my structures. My conviction is that God told Samuel that the hand that has begun a good work will also perfect it.
What does that mean?
It means that if the president has started the construction of the cathedral, it is fair for the government to finish it. If Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo promised the Lord to build him a cathedral and he has started building it, my conviction is that he will definitely finish the construction of the cathedral.
So what you're saying is that you believe he will win and finish?
Obviously, he'll win and win well. Okay. Because if for nothing at all.
Does that not make you, make you look as if you're taking sides? And should the government change, in the events that the government changes, do you think that the next government would work with you now to then finish the cathedral?
You see, it's not about me working or not. It's about Christians being well compensated. So if there is another government, if there will be, that says I can't work with Victor. I always have my businesses, I'm in ministry. It's not about me, it's about the work. If Christians can sit down, 75% of the population, for another government to come in to say, I discontinue the only thing that is going to be a compensation to Christians, then Christians are weak. It's time for believers to rise up, for the whole nation to understand that we are the majority. We pay more taxes. We are at peace with our Muslim brothers and sisters, but the same taxes are used for Hajj pilgrimage. Nobody talks about it. Okay. I've never spoken about it. I've never taken anybody to court about it. There are a few boxing fanatics. Boxing arenas were built for them. I never took them to court and sued them. And so if somebody is also building a national cathedral for us, for Christians who are 75% of the population, I wonder how another government will come in and say, I have stopped it, and so believers also sit down and say, we agree it should be stopped. That
point has been well made. My understanding is that you support the government's bid to stay in power, and you want them to do so that they can finish this cathedral, and it's your conviction that that will happen. If that doesn't happen, do you think at where we are currently, continue with this building?
We could.
With or without the government's?
We could, because the president said that he wants ownership to be believers. Believers have done so much. So ownership of this cathedral should be the believers.
So at where we are right now?
For where we are right now, if we can get 5 million Christians who are supporting this cathedral with just 10 Ghana cedis a month, 15 Ghana cedis a month, 20 Ghana cedis a month, this cathedral will be built without the intervention of anybody.
Okay.
And that is why we have a short code, *979#.
Star
979 hash.
Okay.
And anybody can contribute. Yes. Okay. And if you don't have a mobile phone to donate through your phone, you could go to any ADB bank and just make your donation. Any Fidelity Bank, make your donation. Any GCB bank to make a donation. But no government in the event, it's not even going to happen. Because Danado has started building a tabernacle for God. And the one that has started will finish it. The Bible said it. So I'm of the conviction that he will definitely continue his term to see to the completion of the National Cathedral.
Okay. In
the events that the opposite happen, which of course it won't happen, nobody can ever say I'm intercepting it, because this is for the 75% of the population of Ghana. And this is the first time any president has ever thought about Christians this way.
I'll take your final words, but if you want to support the cathedral, they say, the Board of Trustees say they have a short code through which you can support. That's star 979 hash. And some of you have been sending some messages. I think I have some messages on other stories. Just one I have seen so far on the cathedral. We'll read it and then I'll take Reverend's final words as we go along. But the number is 0540109009. This one says, I just listened to the update vis-a-vis the National Cathedral. We Ghanaians today will not stand and watch this happen. Okay. All right. Okay, most of you are talking generally. All right, so Rev, let me take your final words. We're going into an election, but you have a project to finish with or without government support. What do you leave my audience with?
It's time believers understand that if it is true that this man has helped us to this far and we are getting to an election, the hand that has begun should finish it. And so the best way the church can also compensate Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo is to retain him so that he finishes what no other president ever did for the Christian fraternity.
Thank you.
Believers have done a lot for this nation. It's time the nation also recognizes us and also blesses us.
Thank you very much for passing through. So that's the Secretary to the Board of Trustees for the Cathedral. And as we're speaking, they're saying that the construction has started. It hasn't stalled because money isn't flowing. It has stalled because of the COVID-19 issues that we had. Reverend Kusi Boateng has been my guest for today on this one. Thank you very much for passing through.
Thank you very much for having me.